It's very important to recognize the complexity of the relationship between religion, spirituality, and health. It's not enough just to say or to think that religion and spirituality is good or bad for health. Actually, religiosity and spirituality is a multidimensional construct with different correlations with health outcomes. Not only there are several dimensions of religiosity and spirituality, but even these dimensions are changeable. They can be changed throughout person's life. So it's necessary a careful exploration of patients or people's religion and spirituality. And there are several dimensions of religion and spirituality that we should address or we could address in scientific studies. We will cover here the most common. The first is affiliation. If a person has some religious affiliation, if he is or she is Catholic, Protestant, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever. But the affiliation usually is not the strongest predictor in spirituality and religiosity, because the person can have a religious affiliation, but very low levels of actual religious involvement with that tradition. One much better way of assess spirituality or religiosity, better saying, is organizational religiosity or attendance. How often this person attends a religious service. This is one of the most powerful religious variable regarding health outcomes. Another religious dimension is private religious practices, like praying, reading religious texts, meditation, some religious practices. Another aspect is subjective religiousness. You could ask simply, how religious are you? And the other very important dimensions of religiosity is religious commitment or orientation. The intrinsic religious commitment basically is when people find their master motive in religion. They try to live according their religious views. They try hard to live their religious beliefs in their lives. It's different from the extrinsic religious commitment or extrinsic religious orientation, when religious activities serve to other, more ultimate interests. Gordon Allport, the Harvard psychologist who created this category, religious commitment, intrinsic and extrinsic, used to say that the intrinsic committed person usually live to serve God, and the extrinsically motivated lives to be served by God. And another very important religious dimension is the religious coping. The use of religious beliefs and practices to cope with stress, to cope with illnesses. And the religious coping can be positive when it's related with positive health outcomes, and there is also the negative religious coping that is related with negative health outcomes. An example of positive religious coping is, for example, I try to put my plans into action together with God. So the idea that I have a kind of collaborative work with God. I do my best, and then I live my life in God's hand. This is a positive religious coping. Another positive religious coping. I try to learn God's lesson in the stressor, in this situation. What could I learn in this? If it happened for a good purpose. What should I learn with this? And also another possibility is engaging in religious activities to shift the focus from the stressor. Examples of negative religious coping is, for example, to wonder whether God had abandoned me. Or, for example, decide that devil made this bad thing happen. So all these religious dimensions are very important, and they have different correlations with health outcomes, and they are some of the most important ways of measuring religiousness during scientific studies.